My beloved child, in these days when the sounds of the world rise so thickly around you, you may feel as though the gentle call within your heart is being buried beneath countless voices of pressure, comparison, judgment, and demand. There are times when you wake up and, before you even have a chance to listen to yourself, you are already pulled into the noisy current of others. They tell you that you must be faster, stronger, more like the crowd. That you must hide your deepest stirrings so you will not be seen as different. But I want you to pause in my peace and hear this. Not every noise is truth. Not every rush is guidance. And not everything you feel deeply is a burden. There are things I placed within you from very early on, quietly like seeds beneath the soil, waiting for the right season to rise out of the darkness and become shade for others. Your sensitivity, your inner eyes that know how to recognize fragile things, your heart that trembles before pain that cannot be spoken aloud. None of these are mistakes in the way I formed you. They are part of the gift I entrusted to your life. You once thought that you had to become hardened in order to survive. You learned to stay silent when you felt too much, to smile when your heart was full of storms, to say, "I'm fine," when the invisible waves in a room were already enough to exhaust you. Since childhood, you have known how to read silences, how to notice sadness behind someone's eyes, how to sense a change in another person's voice, how to feel that something had not yet been said. Many times, you did not understand why you could see more, hear more deeply, and hurt for longer. Perhaps you were told that you were too sensitive, that you overthought too much, that you were too easily affected. Then you began to withdraw, to blame yourself, to force yourself to become like those who were not shaken by the things you felt. But my child, I did not create you so that you would deny the very tenderness I placed within you. If the world does not know how to name your gift, that does not mean the gift is not sacred. There is a difference between weakness and softness. Weakness is when you allow fear to control you. Softness is when you still keep the ability to love, empathize, and listen, even after passing through much pain. I do not want you to become a cold wall so that no one can touch you. I want you to become a guarded garden, with gates, boundaries, light, and life, a place where what is good is nurtured and what is harmful is not allowed to enter carelessly. Your sensitivity needs to be protected, but it does not need to be buried. That gift needs to mature, but it does not need to be suffocated. When it is placed under my guidance, it will no longer drain you by making you carry every pain of others. It will help you discern what must be held with compassion, what must be returned to me, and what you must not receive as your own burden. I am teaching you to distinguish between noise and calling. Noise confuses your mind, makes you hurry to prove yourself, hurry to react, hurry to doubt yourself. My calling is different, even when it is solemn. It still carries peace, even when it is deep. It does not crush you, even when it leads you to truth. It does not take away your hope. When I reveal something to you, I do not do so to sow terror in your heart. I do not lift the veil so that you tremble before the future. I only prepare you, like a father lighting a lamp in the house before you walk through a dark hallway. There are things that, if they came too suddenly, would shake you. There are truths that, if not placed within love, you would mistake for a sentence of condemnation. So, I come first, touch you first, steady your heart first, and only then allow you to recognize what must be recognized. My revelation is never meant to make you shrink back. It is meant to expand what is within you so you can stand upright in the light. Remember Samuel when he was still a child serving in the temple. That night, when everything had sunk into silence, he heard a voice calling his name. At first, he did not know it was my voice. He thought someone else was calling him. It took several times before he learned how to respond to the sacred call resounding in the darkness. Do you see? There are gifts that need to be recognized, guided, and matured in humility. Samuel was not rebuked because he did not understand immediately. He was guided to listen to the right source, respond in the right way, and then grow into someone who could discern my voice in an age full of confusion. You are the same. The deep impressions within you are not always meant for you to interpret alone. Bring them to me. Let me teach you what is a prompting, born of peace. What is an echo of old fear? What is a burden you need to pray over? And what is something you need to release from your hands? The steadiness I give you is not like the way the world defines strength. The world often tells you that you must not hurt, must not cry, must not be confused, must not be moved by anything too fragile. But I do not see a hardened heart as victory. I do not call coldness maturity. The strength I build within you is a quiet pillar in the depths. It helps you feel without being swept away. Love without losing yourself. See pain without falling into despair. Hear difficult things without allowing darkness to rule. I want you to have a heart that is soft, but not fragile. A mind that is clear, but not proud. A sensitivity that is deep, but not chaotic. And a gentle courage strong enough to enter places others avoid, while still remaining in my peace. So do not be ashamed because you feel deeply. Do not ask me to take away that tenderness simply because someone does not understand it. What needs to be taken away is not the gift, but the fear of being misunderstood. What needs to be healed is not your ability to love deeply, but the wounds that once made you think deep love was dangerous. What needs to be renewed is not the eyes that can see what is hidden, but the way you care for those eyes so they do not grow weary from staring too long into darkness. You are not called to live like a cracked vessel, always afraid of being touched. You are called to become a vessel restored by me, carrying cool water to the right place, at the right time, in the right way. When you stay close to me, your sensitivity will be purified from confusion, anchored in wisdom, and used as an instrument of mercy. There will be people who come near you without knowing why they feel comforted. There will be conversations that seem ordinary, yet later become a turning point in someone's life. There will be words you speak very softly, but because they are born from deep listening and pure love, they will touch places that noisy advice cannot reach. You will learn that healing does not always require many words. Sometimes, healing begins when you are present without judgment, when you listen without rushing to fix, when you pray without needing anyone to know, when you keep peace in a tense room, and when you bring light into a story someone thought had only darkness left. That is how your gift will blossom, not loudly, not boastfully, but steadily and gently like the dawn. From today onward, walk with holy respect for what I have placed within you. Do not let the noise outside cause you to forget the calling within. Do not let those who do not understand your gift make you bury it beneath the soil of shame. Bring that sensitivity to me each day so it may be guarded, taught, and made pure. When you feel too much, rest in me. When you see what others overlook, ask me for wisdom before you act. When you recognize someone's pain, let love lead you, but also let peace keep you. I did not give you this gift so that you would be crushed by the world. I gave it so that, through you, a part of my gentleness may touch the world. My beloved child, there are seasons when I no longer invite you to repair what is old, but call you to courageously step out of it. There are foundations that once supported you for a time, but now no longer have the strength to carry what I am about to entrust to you. There are habits you thought were shelters, but in truth, they were familiar cages keeping you in cycles of fear, delay, and self-doubt. There are ways of thinking that have been with you for so long that you call them your nature, while I call them cords that need to be untied. So, when you see everything around you begin to shake, do not quickly assume that I am abandoning you. Sometimes that shaking is my mercy awakening what has slept too long. I do not tear down to leave you empty. I remove what must come down so that you will no longer lean on what is no longer firm. I do not allow old walls to collapse because I am angry with you. I let them fall because I love you too much to leave you living in a house that is no longer safe. Understand this. My child, I do not come to decorate ruins with a fresh coat of paint. I do not cover cracks with shallow words of comfort. Nor do I place a beautiful curtain over a place that has rotted from within. What I do is always deeper than what you expect. You often ask me to fix a door, but I see that the whole floor needs to be rebuilt. You ask me to soothe one pain, but I see the very root of the fear that has been quietly controlling your life. You ask me to open a path before your eyes, but I want to reopen the inner space within you, where faith, love, courage, and peace are set back into their rightful places. Therefore, when I touch the things you have grown used to holding, you may feel pain, you may feel loss, you may wonder why what once felt familiar is being shaken. But trust me, my hand is not cruel. My hand is the hand of a father clearing a room to prepare for new light to enter. There are things you call loss, but in my eyes, they are deliverance. There are connections you thought you could not live without, yet they made your heart smaller and caused my calling within you to grow faint. There are environments that once suited you, but now only sow unrest, comparison, and exhaustion into you. There are habits that once helped you endure a difficult season, but if you carry them into the new season, they will become a burden. So do not mourn every leaf that falls from the branch. Not every fallen leaf is a sign of death. Sometimes it is a sign that the tree is preparing for another season of growth. I know you fear the empty space after letting go. I know you are afraid that if the old thing disappears, you will not know where to hold on. But, beloved child, I do not take the old thing from your hand without setting before you a firmer foundation. I do not call you out of a narrow place to abandon you in the wilderness. I call you out so you can learn to walk beneath the wide sky of grace. Listen, my child, I want to rebuild the house of your life from its deepest place, not the house of appearances, where others look in and praise, while inside it is full of sighs. Not the house of achievement, where you always have to prove that you are worthy. Not the house built from fear, from pleasing everyone, from endless effort to hide your weakness. I want to build within you a dwelling place of true peace, where you no longer tremble before every wind, no longer fall apart at every criticism, no longer lose yourself just because a temporary door closes. The foundation I set is not the recognition of people, nor the favorable conditions outside you. That foundation is my truth, my love, my grace, and the calling I placed upon you before you even knew how to name yourself. Remember the story of Nehemiah when he heard that the walls of Jerusalem were broken down, its gates burned with fire, and the people were living in shame and scattering. He did not simply sit and mourn the old glory, nor did he merely weep and then abandon the ruins. He prayed, rose up, returned, and began rebuilding each section of the wall under my guidance. That work was not easy. There was mockery, opposition, weariness, and hands that seemed too weak. But each stone was set back in place. Each gate was restored. Each broken place was joined together, until the place once considered ruined rose again as a testimony of my faithfulness. Do you see? I am not afraid of ruins. I am not terrified by what has been burned, cracked, or forgotten. I can call a person to rise up in the middle of devastation and make them a co-worker in the work of restoration. In the same way, your life is not too damaged for me to rebuild. Your family is not too late for me to visit. The places once wounded are not too deep for my light to enter. And tonight, my child, receive this word not as a passing sound, but as an invitation to awaken. There are nights that look very ordinary on the outside, but in the spiritual realm, many chains are being loosened from the places where they have been rooted too long. There are hours that are not loud, yet my hand is moving through every room of your life, through every memory, every relationship, every pattern of thought, every fear you once thought you would have to carry for the rest of your life. I am visiting your space with a gentleness that is also mighty. I am setting order back into places that were once chaotic. I am softening hearts that had grown hard from disappointment. I am opening a way for forgiveness where there was once a wall of resentment. I am rekindling hope in the inner room of you that had gone dark because of too many painful words. You may not see the heavenly armies with your eyes, but you will recognize the traces of my presence through unexpected peace, through a changed word, through a conversation you once thought could never be healed, through the lightening of a burden you have carried for far too long. The invisible cords that once tightened around your mind through shame, confusion, self-blame, and fear are gradually losing their power. The doors that were once closed because of wounds, division, silence, and disappointment are being touched by me. Not every door will open in the way you imagined, but every door I open will lead you into greater freedom, purity, and truth. I do not only want you to be freed from what hurt you, I want you to enter a new way of living, where you no longer allow the past to hold the key to your present. So do not resist renewal simply because it does not resemble what you are used to. Do not ask me to bring you into a new season while still clinging tightly to the old garment of the season that has passed. Do not ask for light while still wanting to keep darkness as a memory you cannot release. I know letting go is not easy. There are things that hurt you, yet they still feel familiar. There are bonds that weary you, yet you are still afraid to lose them. There are rooms in your heart that have been closed for so long that when I open them, the light unsettles you. But, beloved child, light does not come to shame you, light comes to heal. Truth does not come to crush you, truth comes to set you free. Grace does not come to condemn the broken pieces. Grace comes to turn them into places where I reveal the power of restoration. From this moment on, let me teach you how to stand on a new foundation. Let me replace panic with trust, resentment with forgiveness, fear with peace, and the voice of self-condemnation with the reminder that you are still my beloved child. The house I am building within you will not be built hastily from passing emotions, but with stones of truth, patience, humility, and enduring love. Storms may still pass through, but you will no longer collapse as before. Waters may still rise, but they will not sweep away your identity. Winds may still howl around the roof of your life, but inside, the lamp I have lit will continue to burn. My beloved child, never think that blessings only come in the form of great and radiant things that can be held, counted, measured, or displayed before the eyes of the world. There are blessings that come very quietly, gentle as the morning breeze, yet enough to soothe someone's weary day. Sometimes it is only a word spoken with softness instead of anger, a gaze free from judgment, a quiet presence beside someone who is wounded, a prayer no one hears except me. You often wait until you have more, become stronger, and feel more stable before daring to think about giving. But I tell you, the small thing in your hand, when placed in love, is no longer small. A drop of water in the desert is more precious than a full jar placed where no one is thirsty. A word of encouragement at the right moment can lift someone from the edge of despair. A brief message asking how someone is can become a sign that they have not been forgotten. I do not require you to possess a great treasure before you can become a source of blessing. I simply invite you to be faithful with the portion you have. Sometimes you look at your life and say, I have nothing significant to give. But my child, you still have compassion. You still have time. You still have the ability to listen. You still have the experience of having passed through dark seasons. You still have quiet prayers rising from the depths of your heart. These things are not trivial in my eyes. People may measure blessings by quantity, by outward brilliance, by what attracts attention, but I look at the heart behind the action. A small act done with pure love can echo farther than a great work built by pride. Do not despise your small portion, because it is often within small things that I hide quiet miracles. Remember the boy long ago among the hungry crowd. In his hands there was nothing that would amaze the adults, only a few simple loaves and a couple of small fish. When seen through calculating eyes, that portion was too little, too thin, too unworthy before such an overwhelming need. But when that small thing was offered with a willing heart, I brought forth abundance beyond human reason. What began the miracle was not the amount in the basket, but the willingness to give. You are the same. Perhaps you have only an awkward word of comfort, a little time in the middle of a busy day, a short prayer in a quiet room, or forgiveness that you had to fight hard to give. But when you place these things in my hands, I can break them, multiply them, carry them to places you do not know, touch hearts you have never met, and cause hope to spring up where you thought there was only emptiness. Therefore, do not wait until everything in you is perfect before you begin to love. A thirsty person does not need you to finish building an entire river. They can be saved by a cup of water at the right time. A weary person does not need you to have every answer. They need you to sit with them long enough for them to know their pain has been heard. A person drowning in shame does not need you to explain many things. They need a gentle reminder that they still have value, are still loved, and can still rise again. When you choose to speak words that lift up instead of words that weigh down, you are sowing light into a place that may have been dark for a long time. When you choose to pray instead of judge, you are opening an invisible path for my grace to enter. When you choose to forgive, not because the wrongdoing was small, but because you no longer want to remain chained by bitterness, you are allowing the river of healing to flow through you and spread to others. I know there are wounds within you that once made you want to close yourself off. There are old stories you do not want to mention, not because you have forgotten them, but because each time you remember, it feels like a needle touches a place that is still tender. But beloved child, I never waste your tears. When you give that past to me, I do not throw it into darkness as something shameful. I wash it, heal it, and turn it into a gentle testimony of mercy. What once hurt, you can become a doorway through which you enter another person's pain with true compassion. Those who have never passed through the long night sometimes find it difficult to understand the cry of one who is still awake. But you, because you have trembled, will know how to place your hand on the shoulder of someone who is trembling. Because you once needed to be lifted, you will know how to lift others without arrogance. Because you have been forgiven, you will understand the worth of mercy more deeply than beautiful words spoken outwardly. There is a story in Scripture about the Samaritan woman at the well. She came to draw water at a lonely hour, carrying within her the tangled fragments of her life, perhaps also carrying shame and the habit of avoiding the eyes of others. But when she met the one who gives life, Her story was no longer imprisoned in the past. She did not become perfect in a single moment in the way the world imagines. But she was awakened, sane, and called out of hiding. Then the very woman who had avoided the crowd ran back to tell everyone about the one she had met. Do you see? I can use the very person who once thought she was unworthy to awaken an entire community. I can turn the water jar of shame into an invitation for others to come near the light. In the same way, your story, when placed in my hands, will no longer be a burden dragging you backward. It will become a bell calling someone out of despair. So you do not need to make your past look beautiful before you are allowed to tell it. Humble honesty has greater power than false perfection. You do not need to speak like someone who has never been hurt. Speak as someone who has been kept by me through pain. You do not need to cover every stained part of your life. Let my light shine through the places that were once cracked. It is there that others will recognize they are not alone. They will see in you a sign that brokenness is not the end, that dark days cannot overcome kindness, and that I can still continue writing with the handwriting of grace on pages that seem blurred by tears. When you tell your story, not to boast of your own strength, but to testify that I am faithful, that story becomes a seed falling into the heart of someone who needs hope. My beloved child, there are times when you think the silence around you is a sign that you have been forgotten, that your slow steps are proof you have fallen behind, and that the times you fell have caused you to lose the path I once placed before you. But I want you to hear this with all the peace that remains in your heart. No dark day has the authority to erase the good purpose I have planted over your life. Not one quiet tear falls without my knowing. Not one sigh of yours dissolves into emptiness without being held by me. You may have gone through days so long that even you no longer wanted to explain your weariness to anyone. You tried to appear fine, smiled while breaking inside, and kept walking because you felt there was no other choice. But even when you thought you were walking alone on an empty road, I was there, not loudly, not distantly, not with blame, but quietly holding you with my enduring kindness. There are pains that do not appear through loud crying, but hide beneath silence. There are battles no one sees, because they take place during the hours when you sit alone, during the nights when your eyes are open and your heart does not know what to ask for, during the mornings when you wake up with an unnamed heaviness. The world often sees only your outward appearance. They see you still standing. So they think you are not tired. They see you still working. So they think you are not hurting. They see you silent. So they assume you are at peace. But I do not look at you with such a hurried gaze. I see the part of you that you have hidden so carefully. I hear even the things you have not yet been able to put into words. I understand the empty spaces that no one else has had enough patience to enter. So do not condemn yourself as weak simply because you need to be lifted. Needing me is not a sign of failure. It is the doorway back to the true source of strength. In the days when you feel small and as though no one remembers you, I want you to remember a woman who once stood on the edge of despair, Hagar. She left what was familiar and entered the wilderness with her child beside her, carrying fear, exhaustion, and a sense of being abandoned. When the water was gone, when hope seemed to close, she sat at a distance from her child because she could not bear to watch pain unfold before her eyes. In the eyes of the world, she may have been only a woman lost in the desert, but before me, she was someone seen, called, and answered. I did not let that cry disappear into the hot sand. I opened her eyes to see that the well of water was already nearby. What she needed did not appear only at that moment. What she needed had already been placed there by me. But fear had darkened her vision. Beloved child, perhaps today you too are standing near a well of water that you have not yet recognized. Perhaps the way out is not as far away as you think. Perhaps grace is not absent. Perhaps your eyes have simply grown dim from too much anxiety. I come not only to give you something new, but also to open your eyes to see what I have quietly prepared beforehand. So do not let delay make you think that I have changed my mind. A door that is not yet opened does not mean every door is closed. A prayer not answered in the way you expected does not mean I am indifferent. There are things I hold back because you are not yet ready to carry them while still keeping your heart pure. There are roads I allow you to walk slowly because if you ran too fast, you would miss the lessons needed for the next season. You only see delay. I see a foundation being laid deep. You only see waiting. I see your inner being strengthened. You only see your stumbles. I see a child learning to rise again with greater humility, with softer eyes, and with a heart that can empathize more deeply with the pain of others. From today onward, walk slowly, but do not stop. Cry if you need to, but do not call your tears the end. Rest if you are tired, but do not see rest as failure. I am leading you through this season not so that you will disappear in the darkness, but so that you will learn to recognize the light even when it begins very small. The time will come when you look back and understand that I was closer than you thought. The silent days were not empty. They were the place where I was quietly working. The wilderness roads were not useless. They were the place where I opened your eyes to see the water. The times you thought you had been left behind were not the final period. They were the place where I called you by name and reminded you that you still belong to me. Rise up, beloved child, not by your own strength, but by my gentle support. The light I placed within you is still there. And as you continue walking, that light will not only guide your own path, but also touch those who need a sign that they too have not been forgotten.